Peace, hello.
Peace.
Yo, I'm getting got a cyber attack going on.
Oh, that's why it disappeared. It's back up though.
Yeah, so I got some back up. I gotta let me know if you can see my screen.
I see your face. So yeah. I mean anything else that I don't know.
You just see
I
my
just
picture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Let me
Yep, you
know.
started sharing the screen.
All right. It's always a glitch in the matrix somewhere. So as you guys can see, I'm attacking the viruses right now. That's why we have some type, and we have a storm out here, which is messing up my reception. But we finna get it in. You already know. Okay, that's done. What's going on, Atara?
Chilling.
Lacking.
Excited to be here.
They always trying to put a glitch in the matrix. We finna shut it down real quick.
Right.
Look at it. Look at all these viruses they try to dump on my
It
computer.
just all of a sudden just jumped on me.
Yeah, yeah.
Quarantine.
All right, that's done. So, all right, so almost good. Now make sure we got everybody. Everybody doesn't have to say anything or whatever. But I just want to make sure everybody can hear me and can see my screen.
We can see him.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay,
That's
that's Ron, Satina. Let me know if you can hear me and see my screen. Let's see. Okay, she said yes. All right, cool. That's the chat. All right. Let me adjust my. Don't worry about my desktop, y'all. Y'all see, I be having I clean up my desktop literally like once a week, you know. But I know it don't look like it. So
Yeah, that's clean.
nah, I clean it. I got to re-clean it, but I clean it once a week, and it ends up like that every week. Cause as I'm downloading stuff and researching and stuff like that, doing all type of stuff. All right, so we're gonna get right to it. I'm still waiting for this to clear up real quick. I got a serious bug right here I got to get rid of. So worst, if anything happens to shut down or whatever, I'm gonna I have everybody logged into a Facebook group so I can call everybody to continue. That's emergency. If emergency happens to happen, I got to shut everything down. But we should be good. All right. So we're gonna get right to it. I call this one the Credit Repair Crash Course, Secrets of the Pros. And it's called that because we're gonna get right into exactly what you need to do to start repairing your credit, and also moving forward to if you got those for those who would like, to start helping other people restore and repair their credit as well. These are procedures and that I've acquired and learned throughout the years. Me personally, I do have a credit repair company out here in Chicago. Uh, so I've been doing credit for about 4 years now. 2 years with my actual company. But me personally, like if somebody ever asked me about credit repair, I personally don't do it that often anymore because especially as far as business, I kind of moved on, and I have partners that's taking care of that area. This is because it's too time consuming. That's why I rather just teach people how to do it because it's a full-time job managing your own credit as opposed to managing somebody else's. So I don't have time for the liability, for the obligation, for the headaches and heartaches because especially black folks, they come into the office and they wait to the last minute until they want to get things resolved on their credit, but they took them 30 years to destroy the credit, but now they want you to create magic acts overnight. So Um, this is me giving back. You know what I'm saying? So the people that are that want the information, that are looking to do things on their own. I see a lot of different credit repair companies, like Lexington Law is one of them, that charges people to, reels people in by selling them $100 a month package, but you're going to be paying $100 a month forever for the rest of your life. And they have some type of system where it's like, if you ever if you ever cancel their service for some reason, all the stuff appears back on your credit. I've heard some things like that, where putting you in a situation where you're gonna always need them, basically. So I don't like those type of situations, where I'm all about independence and giving people things that they need or can use to exercise their independence. In my opinion, everybody should be in control of their own credit. It's your credit. You're responsible, and so you should understand your credit. You should know how to resolve your credit. And I'm gonna break it. I'm not. It's not rocket science. We're not gonna talk about I'm not gonna say any type of magical words. I'm gonna tell you exactly what needs to be done and how you need to do it. But it's everybody's responsibility outside of this to do the research through the research materials that I'm going to be giving you guys, to better understand different laws and stuff like that, to back up what you're doing, so you understand why this particular law that you put inside your dispute letters, why was it effective, or why it wasn't effective. So all of these things are going to be inside the your package. Okay. The first letter we're going to go over this is called the 611 letter. Now, the 611 letter is this is like your standard credit repair dispute challenge letter that you send to the actual credit bureaus. I call it the 611 letter because that's when, if you look right here where it says information contacted in this reinvestigation in compliance with the Fair Credit Reporting Act of 611, section 611. So this is going, everything that we're applying with these particular procedures, all are going to go back to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So everybody's going to get a copy of this Fair Credit Reporting Act inside of your crash course package, which will be, like I said, everybody will receive that via email. And it's going to be the whole manual that goes back, and you can go back and look into these different sections in depth, so you can clearly understand. And just like you can see right here, we have different case laws between TransUnion, Equifax, et cetera, et cetera. And these are the things that we use in conjunction with our credit report disputes. Because the point of it is because a lot of people are familiar with, some people are getting familiar with, well, I'm not sure how that happened. Whatever. So a lot of people are becoming accustomed to actually getting some feedback, background noise. Yo, Corey, need you to mute. All right, so a lot of people are getting used to actually sending off dispute letters, but they're not sending it. They're wondering why the dispute letters are not effective, and the reason why they're not effective because they're not putting any type of any laws inside of the letter to back up their claim. Because the fact of the matter is, you can say what you want to say, but if you're not including the proper terminology and the proper laws to back up your claims and your disputes, they're going to ignore it every time. And just like at the end of this basic simple dispute letter that reflects back to this particular section of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, we also say, and hope It is my hope that you will initiate an investigation regarding my disputes without any legal action, because each violation of the Fair Credit Reporting Act allows damages of $1,000 should this matter end up in court. So you got to add little different things in there like that, and that's not us making anything up. Those are the facts when we go back and educate ourselves on a different acts inside of the Fair Debt Collecting Act. So now, as you see at the top, simple letter, we have the time. We have the date. We have your name, your address, your zip code. I recommend putting the zip code in brackets. Social security number. Now, a lot of us that are going into the whole private and secure party creditor concept, I know we're running away from the social security number, but we got to understand that this is a whole nother issue. We're dealing with the straw man right now. So before we get into that private sector, it still can be beneficial and helpful throughout our journey into the private to get this straw man all cleaned up, because we can use this straw man's credit to leverage business credit or to leverage credit for our foreign trusts. Now, so that's why we'll put, we don't have to put the full social security number. We could just put the last 4 digits. Okay, so also the date of birth. You can put the year that you was born. Now the reason we're doing this is to pretty much verify your personal identity. We gotta know when to play the game and when not to play the game. And if we dispute items on the credit, when we're looking at the credit report, we're gonna notice different items that are. Let me pull up a credit report. Well, I'm gonna pull up a credit report after we get done with this. Sometimes you want to validate the information that's on the credit report. You'll notice that you might have an address change, or they might have different addresses or an old address. It's good sometimes. Let's say if you have a different address from the one that they have reported, you can use that as leverage in your dispute and say, like, this is inaccurate information. Because this particular account that I'm disputing is tied to a address that is not currently that is not my current address. So you can use that as leverage in your dispute instead of like giving them the updated information. You see what I mean? That'll be the time period where you don't give them the updated information, because you're going to use that as leverage to say, hey, this information is inaccurate. It needs to be removed. I don't live here, and this item needs to be removed off my report within 30 days. So use at your discretion if you decide to give the full date of birth or the full social security number. It is recommended when you're sending off your credit dispute packages that it is in some sort of package form, meaning that it has your credit dispute letter, of course. It has a photocopy of your social security card, and a photocopy of a utility bill. These are the forms of identification, and these help escalate the situation and expedite the situation when dealing with the credit bureaus, because they'll try to pretty much stall time in the midst of the communication and send you letters to ask you to verify and validate yourself. So to avoid all those issues and to avoid interruptions in the processes, I recommend sending it in a package form, like I said, with a letter, a photocopy of your driver's license, social security card, and the utility bill. Three forms of identification. So either state ID or driver's license, a social security number, and your copy of a social security card, as well as a copy of a utility bill. These are the 3 forms of identification verifications. All right, so now we go down. Of course, we get the address of the credit bureau that we're going to dispute the item in, and now right here when we get down to the account section, when you go to look at your credit report, let me try to pull one up for you guys. Let me see. When you look at your credit report, a lot of people use Credit Karma. The reason why I recommend a credit reporting company or website such as Free Scores and More. I'm gonna type the link right here inside the chat. So freescoresandmore.com. I recommend freescoresandmore.com. Because when you order a updated copy of your credit report from freescoresandmore.com, or you can use annual credit report. It's a couple other ones, but Free Scores and More has a particular credit report format. They give you all three bureaus for one. Credit Karma only gives you two. Another thing about Credit Karma, besides giving you only two of the reports, they don't give you the actual account numbers, the full account numbers to those accounts. You're going to need those account numbers when you inside your dispute letter. So you're going to need to get a full report from the actual from a place like Free Scores and More. Now, Free Scores and More gives you a free trial. I think it's for 30 days now, or they might have changed it. Yep, start your free trial and get this off. So you get access to all three credit scores, your daily monitoring, your alerts, and identity fraud, and all that other good stuff. Now, the way they break it down, they have a color coded format, which makes it a lot easier to view, for one. So you're able to look at each one of those different credit bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, side by side, and it makes it a lot easier for you to compare and contrast between the accounts on each report. After the 30 days is over with, you can call in. Okay, cool. All right, I got you, Akil. After 30 days, and they try to, I believe the cost is $19.99. You can call in after the free trial, and you can let them know, like, hey, I can't afford the $19.99 a month, but I can do $9.99 a month. Typically, they'll do that, and they'll compliment you to $9.99 a month to continue on with the service. I recommend continuing the service, because some people just do the free trial to download to get that free report, and then to start their credit repair process, and then they cancel the service and just use Credit Karma. That's cool, but I definitely recommend keeping at least one full credit reporting, credit monitoring service, so you can keep track of all three reports and all three credit scores while you're going through the process. Credit Karma is cool, and it's great to monitor your credit in certain ways, and it's free, but at first I didn't like Credit Karma because of the inaccuracy with the score, because I know a lot of people might have noticed this checking their credit score in comparison with different credit monitoring services, that the credit score is not consistent. So a lot of us may have noticed that the credit score on Credit Karma is always lower than all the other credit monitoring services, because Credit Karma uses an older algorithm to pretty much produce the score. So your score is always going to be present itself as being lower on Credit Karma than all of the other platforms. So people tend to also reflect back to like free scores and more or freeannualcreditreport.com to use that score and to move forward to try to get loans and stuff like that. But when it comes down to that, I recommend that you actually use the Credit Karma credit score, because from what I've seen, when we go to to finance vehicles and especially vehicles, and then when we're trying to get certain loans, credit cards, uh, lines of credit, and things of that nature, typically 9 times out of 10, they reflect back to that old. It's called the Vanguard. They use a system called Vanguard. They reflect back to that old system. They reflect back to that lowest score. They're gonna reflect back to that lowest score produced by the previous Vanguard system. Why they do that, I have no idea. So because of that, it's still a good idea to use the Credit Karma score as being your best representation as to what the lenders might be looking at. So that's the objective, is to produce a higher score on Credit Karma, because if you're good on Credit Karma, you're gonna be about. I've seen as much as a 20 point, 25 point difference when you compare it to the other credit monitoring services. So that's always a good thing. So keep that in mind as far as the differences between that. So we're not using Credit Karma for account information, for vital account information needed to dispute, but we will use Credit Karma as far as comparing scores, and when we're building a score to build ourselves up to get loans. All right. Let's see here. I'm gonna find a demonstration, a demo. I'm gonna see if I can Google, because I don't want to pull up nobody else's credit report. I'm gonna see if I can Google a credit report from Free Scores and More. Nah, that's pretty much the best we're gonna get. Let me see. Nah, I'll dig one up in a second that I can use. All right, so another thing we need to understand about the whole credit repair process, doing it the traditional route. I say that because now there's some people that tend to go the route of doing the identity thefts. The the identity thefts are, you have to be very cautious with that. Yeah, it works fast. It's sometimes people saying that things being removed off their report within 5 business days, and et cetera, et cetera. But we got to understand, when we're filling out those identity theft affidavits, because that's exactly what they are. That's a sworn truth, and it's and you can be penalized. You're up under a penalty of perjury. So you don't want to risk anything backfiring by doing things the incorrect way, trying to speed up the process, because that's when things begin to become illegal. So they say, technically speaking, all of it is identity theft, but we can't use that particular method. I wouldn't recommend it unless it's a state of an emergency. So that being said, typically the timeline that it takes to actually to start seeing results with the traditional methods of credit repair is between it goes in like 3 cycles. The first cycle is the first 30 days. The second cycle is the 60-day cycle, and then the third cycle is the 90-day cycle. Now, depending on the individual person, and that particular person's situation, depending on what's on the credit score, some particular items might take longer than others. It just all depends. But what you have to do is you have to go in the game understanding the process. Now, I've seen people that sent off this particular letter, this exact letter right here. This exact letter right here has been extremely effective. Some people's scores, especially women, for some strange reason, they I've seen 90% of the items been wiped out completely using this one letter right here, the first round. And I say the first round because you need to anticipate possibly going multiple rounds to completely remove all items off your score. So you set them up for the kill, just like we're dealing with contracting. So round one would be this. We've been plain and simple, real straight to the point. Then round two, we might have to hit them. We need to hit them with, let's say, a 606 letter or 609 letter. Show you guys. And when we name these letters, the letters are only reflecting back to a particular act inside of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. That's it. So, like in this letter right here, I use a combination. of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Section 609. I use 611. I use 809. I use a combination of a lot of different things. So you see, notice I give them 30 days after receipt of this notice. I demand that an account be verified and removed immediately. The law is very, very clear as a civil liability and a remedy available for me. This is a very heavy dispute letter right here. So this is when they still want to play games. So they still want to play games. You step it up a notch. So that's when that's when you go into your other letters. All of these letters will be inside of your package. So I'm sorry, I already have one open. So now you will see inside your package. This is the folder. This is the package that you guys are going to be receiving right here. So right here, now these are extra bonuses. Right here we have Chapter 13 forms. It's good to look into these so you guys can understand the types of contracts that's involved in bankruptcies. If a lot of us realize the type of contracts that we sign off on in bankruptcies, we'll understand a lot of open doors and remedies we can utilize for ourselves. Like I said, you will get all these dispute letters, the 609s, the 611, the 606, the affidavit of truth, cease and desist letter for credit cards. Let's look at that real quick. Okay, so you might ask yourself, when do you apply a cease and desist? A cease and desist should be applied. You can apply it whenever you want to, but it's most effective after you've won a dispute. So let's say you eliminated the creditor, and you beat the credit reporting agencies. When you have to communicate with the creditor, which may be a circumstance that you might have to go through if you're not getting any results from the credit reporting agency. Now you have to deal with the creditor by the method of validation. So now this like I said, it's an affidavit of legal notice and demand to validate debt claimed. So also they get 30 days from the time of this correspondence to give you proof of claim. Let me bring this up a little bit. I don't think a lot of people know how powerful debt validation letters are by themselves. So let's say you go to 3 rounds with the with your traditional dispute letters. You did your 601 letter. I mean your 611 letter. You did your 606 letter. You went to 3 rounds, and you still have this one account that is not budging. Now, first you have to understand or pinpoint the fact that what type of account is it a first party or third party account? Meaning, are you still contracted with that original creditor? That's the first thing we need to understand. Is the account that's on that credit report, is that the original creditor, or is that a third party? And you ask yourself, well, how do I find that out? Well, you find that out by looking at your credit report. So if the name of the company on that credit report is not T-Mobile, State Farm, or whoever the original creditor that you know and witness yourself contracting with, that is a third party. Understand the leverage and benefit of being contracted to a third party. And that's a huge secret inside of not only the credit report, the credit world, but also just understanding how to eliminate and discharge third-party debt. The second that your account has been sold to a third party, you have the most leverage to eliminate that account without no dispute. If you do everything within the proper order, within the proper time frame, there's nothing that they can do about it. They have to remove that account out of their system, and they have to discharge that debt. So when I say time period, it's just like this, because they always have to give you notice. So here's the example I use with as far as dealing with third-party debt, and a lot of our debt or accounts that are on the credit report are becoming third-party debt. A lot of us don't recognize half the stuff that's on our credit report, or half of the agencies that are reporting on the credit report, because we don't owe them. You never had a contract with them, and the reason why you never had a contract with them is the reason why they have to remove because they can never produce your wet ink signature. They can never produce your wet ink signature. Now, what they might try to do is try to be smart and send you back the original package of the contract that you signed with the original creditor. So if you had an original contract with Sprint and you went into default with that account, now of course Sprint tries for a few months to try to recoup the money from you. Now it gets to a point where they say, you know what, forget it. So they end up selling the account to Credit Practices and Company, third-party debt collection agency. So they sell it to them. Say you owe Sprint $1,500. They might have sold it to Sprint for $750, half of the amount. Sprint is like, hey, at least I get something. I discharge it. I write it off later. And the third-party debt collection company, their job is now to recoup that money from you. So they've paid your debt from the original creditor. They acquired your debt, and now they're chasing behind you, trying to recoup the money to get you to pay them back, because they say you owe this debt. But they're not saying, so they're mixing facts versus reality. The fact may be that you owe the debt to Sprint. You did owe a debt to Sprint, if you want to be technical. Even though there's ways around that too. Technically speaking, sorta, you owe that debt to Sprint. But they failed to mention, or we failed to realize, that we never owed that debt. We never owed the debt to them. You had a contract. Everything is about the original contract. You had an original, so Sprint can produce an original contract. If you send a debt validation letter to Sprint or a first party creditor, then yeah, they're going to send you back proof like, yeah, we do have a contract. You did agree to these terms and conditions. You did agree to pay this debt. Facts. But moving forward, once that debt is sold to a third party, they have a contract, maybe, but we're up under the assumption that we have a contract with that third party debt collection agency, because we knew we owed the debt to Sprint. So automatically we think we owe them. We don't owe them. And they can never prove that we do, that we ever had a contract with them, because we didn't. So when they send you out, when they send you that package that they're trying to consider to be validation with the original agreement that you had with Sprint, and we like, oh man, I lost. They validated the debt. They didn't validate anything. That was a chess move to see if you knew what you was doing and the type of game this is. They're hoping you accept that as validation. So you're supposed to go back and rebut and say, no, that is not validation, sir, madam. Now, this debt validation right here is a combination of a cease and desist. Notice and demand a cease and desist collection activities prior to validation of reported, it's supposed to be reported debt. Now, this notice is required by law demand to cease and desist collection activities prior to the validation of reported debt. And you must validate the enclosed claim of the alleged debt. You must provide the validation that the debt actually that an actual debt really exists by producing the following. These are your instructions to the creditor. The name and address of the organization of the governmental unit alleging a debt. The name and address of a person or persons in that organization or other governmental unit alleging the debt, a claim of debt. The name of the actual creditor, even if that is myself. The origin of the funds used to create this alleged claim of debt. That's heavy right there. The origin of funds. There is no funds. There is no money, right? The actual records of the organization or other governmental unit showing the time and place of the deposit and distribution of the funds used to create this alleged debt and claim. The actual records and of the organization or the governmental unit showing that an actual loan was made from the organization or the government unit's own funds and that resulted in the enclosed alleged claim of debt. It goes deep and deep and deep and deep and deeper, 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 deeper. Then we got, of course, we have our laws to back it up. Then the Constitution inside the Fair Credit Collections Act. It has a fee schedule for each violation. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. This is very, very. I'm gonna let you guys go through this. I'm not gonna read every word. I'm giving you an overview of what you guys are gonna receive, or what you guys are receiving. This is not, these letters right here are not just for credit report. These letters of validation can eliminate and discharge the debt completely. Some people think like, oh, I'm gonna, okay. Remember, you have two opponents. One opponent is the credit reporting agency, and the other opponent is the so-called creditor that you actually have the account with. So just because you have a car note on your credit report and you end up wiping it off the credit report, that doesn't mean that original creditor is not going to still come after you or come after that vehicle. So you still have to address that original creditor. Now, will these debt validation letters can it eliminate an active account on car loans and stuff like that? No, we gotta dig a little deeper than that. That's when we go into our estoppel processes and stuff like that. But for third party debt, 100%. Let me see. What else you guys need to know? Okay, methods of delivery. It's very important. Okay, true enough. They make it convenient for us to uh, wait, is Satina? Okay, yeah, Satina's in here. Yeah, so they make it convenient for us to dispute items on the credit report on their websites. They make it convenient for us to do, like, we have to understand that we waive a lot of rights by utilizing these automated and these online systems. For one, it doesn't allow you the leverage to contract them into a counter offer. Your dispute is a counter. That's what you need to understand. It's a counter offer. So it needs to be presented as a presentment of a contract. And the only way you can do that, the most thorough way you can do that. Now, that doesn't mean faxing it in. I've seen, and we've done this, and typically we do this a lot, especially for clients. We never dispute online ever in life. But what we do consider, because we've seen to be effective, because I guess a lot of people are not doing it yet, but disputing by fax. Now, disputing by fax, you still get, a confirmation of being received. So we can use that. That's what we need. That's a small form of validation that can still be used. And we've seen that faxing these letters in have been effective, and not only have been effective, they've worked. They've been effective very fast. We've seen 1 to 2 weeks. Things being at least addressed, and then things starting to be removed within that second week. That's very fast. But we still do the traditional forms as far as the preparation of your letters. And when I say preparation of your letters, even if you fax it, and I'm only recommending faxing if you want to try to expedite the process, you can use the method of faxing for the first round. If you're still having problems with certain accounts after the first round, meaning you're going after, you gave them the 30 days and you've seen the result, that you got the letters back in the mail to report the results from your original dispute, the first dispute, and you still have some items left on there and you need to go into a second round, I don't recommend continuing second and third rounds or even fourth rounds by fax. Now you need to go into strictly contracting, and you do that by way of certified mail. So this would be changed to certified mail number or certified contract number, whatever you decide. So this number would be the number on the actual certified mail receipt, that green number. And I'll have a you're gonna be getting a video on understanding the power of certified mail as well. I'll be sending that to you. So check. So when you look at your certified mail receipt, and we might as well get accustomed to having a bunch of these laying around. So this number right here is going to be placed right here. That's the number. This is the contract number now. So you're going to use this as leverage. Now, for those that have noticed, the number right here at the top on the side can be peeled off. So you can either peel this off, and once you place the Once you print out the actual letter, you can seal it on the actual letter, or you can simply type it on the letter. Knowing how slick these people are, I would actually type it. I would type it on there because they can't remove that. Who knows? They might be able to peel that off and say, then that can void out the contract right there. You see what I mean? So I would type that number in on the letter. You have to tie this. You have to tie this to your postal process. So now this is a certified presentment. So now you have a public record of you addressing the credit reporting agencies. And you have a date and time when that package has been received. So in conjunction with this certified mail number that is going to be public record that you can research, you'll also have your return receipt. Let me get another one. So your return receipt is going to play the role of being your tangible evidence and proof of contracting, that your presentment and counter offer has been received, and not only has been received by whoever signed off on it from the agency that's representing that particular agency. So whoever signs off on it, that person still represents that agency, and that's a legal contract now. That's a law-abiding contract now. So now you have proof of evidence of that signature, because once you get that return mail receipt back from utilizing the certified mail service, you're going to get back tangible evidence of a signature, which can be used in court. Because if things start to get real sticky and they act like they think you're still playing with them, when you're trying to dispute a certain account, you're going to use that tangible evidence as proof of claim in your final dispute. Now your final disputes and artillery is going to include an intent to sue. So that's when we're going to get into the intent to sue letters. The intent to sue is nothing more than a scare tactic, technically, but it can be real. So I mean, we got to understand. Sometimes we might have to sue them. You see what I mean? If like worst case scenarios, I haven't seen anybody really have to do that, but the intent to sue letters, the objective of it is to address those letters up to look like it's an actual lawsuit. So just like you get a letter from the mail, just like you get a letter, who's ever received a lawsuit in the mail, you recognize that letter is dressed up a certain way, and all it is a intent to sue. That's it. They intend to sue you. So we're going to use the same method. We're going to use the same methods right back on them. And I'm going to see if I can pull one up. It will be one inside of the package, intent to sue. So basically you're going to have all of these different procedures inside of your package, which have multiple uses, multiple beyond credit. Let's see what we pull up for intent to sue. All right, so let's check out this intent to sue. Wait, let me get. Let's see if this is it. Okay, now this is a affidavit to challenge jurisdiction. This is a jackass attorney. This is for something else. Very powerful letter. But what I want you guys to see is how this letter is addressed, the dressing of it, meaning the uniformity of the letter, how it's typed out. You're going to use that same format. There should be an intent to sue right here. You're going to use that same format inside of your intent to sue. No, that's not the right one. Let me see here. Okay, so now we have intent to sue letter. Now you can do it like this tradition, the traditional format. Me personally, I like to spice things up a bit. I like to keep them on their toes, and I like to dress things up and I like to speak in a particular type of language, or I like a certain perception. You see what I mean? So this is not this is not scary right here. You see what I mean? But if they get a letter in the mail that's dressed up like an actual lawsuit, like the letter we just seen, like some stuff that possibly came from a court, or that was possibly dressed by a lawyer, because that's what they're gonna think when you start hitting them with certain things. They be like, "Damn, is this person a lawyer, or did a lawyer do this?" And then once they feel like, it may be some actual, you might actually have legal power backing you up, they start to break and fold every time. All right, so this is a sample of a notice of intent to sue. So now this is when you need to bring out the big guns and show them what's up. This is one particular method, not the only one, but these are the traditional. So I'm hereby putting you on notice of my intent to file a lawsuit against you for repeated violations. This article right here, United States Constitution, Title 15. I have told representatives of your company not to call me, and I have sent you a letter requesting verification of alleged debt you keep harassing me about. You received the notice on December 28, 2011. Notice a date was put inside the letter. That's why this is a very important thing, a very important factor. You have to make sure that we're keeping proper record of all communications between the creditors and these credit reporting agencies, because these records and these produced by the certified mailing are evidence, just like we said, as evidenced by USPS. I mean, USPS, electronic delivery confirmation. Yet you have continued collection efforts by sending me additional mailings demanding payment and making numerous harassing phone calls to me and blatant violations of the FDCPA. This is my notice to you that I'm going to file a suit against you for damages for violations of the Federal Debt Collection Practices Act. I did not expect to receive any further communication from you. Any further contact from you will be fully documented and added to the already existing evidence and made available as evidence in the court action against you. I've made a conditional offer. Notice that phrase. Conditional offer. Okay? Conditional offer. That's important to understand. Now we're getting into condition, because aside from the traditional validation letters, we have another form of that in the form of a conditional acceptance. And I'll pull one of those up real quick. All right, so conditional acceptance. Conditional acceptance, the whole concept behind it is you saying in so many words that, hey, okay, you say I owe you this debt. Cool, no problem. I'm willing to pay, but only under these conditions. And the conditions are everything that you list within the contract. They have to provide true validation of debt. Okay, let's check this one out real quick. Constructive notice of conditional acceptance. Notice certified mail number. We have to program ourselves with these procedures. Don't ever send any letter out, period, if it doesn't have a certified mail number. That is your contract number. We're contracting here. We're using the post office to perform legal remedy to contract, to legally be able to contract these agencies. They're not going to just listen to you. They don't respect you by yourself. Hold on one second. All right, and okay. Let's go into it. This explains it all right here. Dear Miss Green, I'm in receipt of your letters dated June 20th, 2008. Remember, keep track of these dates. These are specific things. This is the vital information you have to include inside your letters. A copy of which is enclosed. So not only did they send off, provide information related to their original offer, but they also provided a copy of it so they can see exactly what you're referring to. So it goes in, it says, I am conditionally accepting your contract in that letter of $5,000 of frivolous filing penalty. I know a couple of us probably got one of these frivolous filings. So I'm willing to accept your offer of $5,000 for me to pay you $5,000 for frivolous filing as a frivolous filing penalty upon your proof of claim that the 2008 Form 1040 individual income tax return is based on a position identified as frivolous under I.R.C. section 6702. And so, of course, it will be your responsibility to do your due diligence to figure out exactly what that clause is, because that's what's holding the weight inside this letter. Also, number two, in the 2008 Form 1040 reflects a desire to delay or pit the administration of the federal tax laws. And three, there are any defects contained within the 2008 Form 1040, and that there are defects contained within the 2008 Forms 1099 OID, original issue discount, information returns attached to the 2008 Form 1040. Ms. Green, you have 30 days from the receipt of this conditional acceptance to respond on a point-by-point basis via sworn affidavit, very important, via sworn affidavit under your full commercial liability, signing under penalty of perjury that the facts contained therein are true, correct, complete, and not misleading. Very powerful. So now you putting them on notice, on a 30-day notice, because they're contracted now, so they have to abide by the contract. Because you have a third part, a legal third party involved in this, because you've involved the post office. Nobody can ignore the post office. So now they have to respond by a point basis, sworn affidavit under their commercial liability, and they also have to sign up under penalty and perjury. Now, right? Also, okay. Notice it says right here. Please request in writing. All communication needs to be done in writing. One serious thing that we cannot do, and we need to understand we can't do, we can't get involved into these contracting procedures, and we drop the ball by recontracting ourselves back into the original contract. with the so-called creditors by answering the phone, answering questions and stuff like that, giving them more information to use against us. You have a right to remain silent after that, at that point, but you have an obligation to respond to presentments, because we can't ignore offers as well. If you ignore an offer, now they can file what is called judgment by default. Basically, you're guilty of the alleged debt based on the fact that you didn't respond. That's evidence. That's evidence of guilt, as far as they consider it by law. So non-respondents within a certain time period of the initial offer as well. When you first get that particular bill or notice in the mail, especially after a debt has been sold to a third party agency, that third party agency is going to send you a notice. That third party agency is going to send you a notice that they're going to say something like this, like your account has been received and is now inside of our office. And basically, long story short, they're going to be saying basically you have 30 days or however many days they put inside the contract. Sometimes they give you 45. It all depends. They give you a specific amount of days for you to respond, challenge, or accept that offer. You have 30 days upon their receipt of your account. That means they just purchased your account. They just bought your debt. I just bought your debt. So in English, it says, I just bought you, hey, what's up? I'm notifying you that I just bought your debt. You got 30 days to dispute it, or we're gonna assume that you actually owe the debt and that you're gonna be obligated to owe that debt to us. Anytime you dispute a so-called debt with a third-party debt collector within the time period of that first notice, they're gonna disappear out your life. That's like almost guaranteed every time, as long as you respond within the time period of that original offer. We can't sit around and wait, because we're up under the perception like, oh my God, there go that Sprint bill, there go that what's the name. It's not Sprint, it's their cousin. They sold their cousin the debt, and we like, oh, I don't got the money to pay it, so I'm going to ignore it. I'll take care of it when I get my taxes. So months pass up, and now you don't understand that you actually made yourself liable by not responding. That's how the contract world works. And guess how they know? Guess how they know? So you ask yourself, what makes that the offer they sent you legal, and what gives them the power to be able to do that? Because they use the same thing and the same system that we're using against them, the postal system. Because of your address, that's why. They sent it to your registered address, which is something else we need to get out of. The address and the zip codes attach us and bring us into jurisdiction. We have to find as many ways as possible to remove ourselves out of the jurisdiction of these particular agencies, especially the government agencies. This is how they're able to contract with us. And guess who helps them contract with us? Our everyday friendly what do you call it? Postal worker. You know, our everyday friendly postal worker that comes by every day with a smile on their face. That's who they use. That's who they use against us. I mean, them not even knowing. You know, they're just a nice man, a nice woman trying to make an honest living, you know, and they're just doing their job, not knowing the inner matrix in between, you know, the whole process and their position and the role and position they play, you know, within it. They use them to contract us. Okay, so that's the conditional acceptance. We're not gonna get into these right here. This goes up into these are for some heavier situations, which these are all still included inside your package. You guys take a look at that. What else? Okay, another thing is preparation, preparation, proper preparation of your letters and disputes. So I want you guys to always remember certain key things that have to be implemented into all correspondences that you are doing in writing. Every letter needs to consist. You need to reserve your rights in every contract, even if this contract is your counter offer. So once you print this document out, you're going to sign it, but you're not going to sign it yourself. You're going to wait until you get in front of a notary. Why do you want to get a notary involved? Not to validate your identity per se, even though that's what they're doing, but you want to get them involved because the notary is an officer of the courts. Even most notaries don't understand the significance of their signature and the role and position they play as it relates to the courts and their offices. They're like mobile clerks or independent clerks of the office. So they don't work inside the court, they work outside. They can pretty much, plug and play on demand. All they need is the stamp and ink pad and a pen, and they're in full service. So you want to get each of these documents notarized. And once you sign your signature, you want to always reserve your rights within the contract. How do we reserve our rights within the contract? UCC 1-308. Simple as that. Simple as that. Nothing else needs to be said. Those of you not familiar with UCC 1-308 by now, type in Google. Figure it out. You always want to reserve your rights in contracts. And once you get a habit of doing that, and to help you get into the habit of doing that, stop asking yourself every piece of paper that you come across that requires your signature. Stop asking yourself, oh, should I reserve my rights in this? Or is this a contract? Or is this a contract? We need to program ourselves to understand that everything we sign our name on is a contract. So anything you sign your name on, you need to be reserving your rights in the contract, period. Make it a part of your signature. Just make it a new bad habit. Because the thing is, if we understood the power of reserving our rights within the signature, we wouldn't be in a lot of situations we're in right now. Because these same accounts and contractors that we're fighting against now, it would have been evidence inside of the contract that they're sending, because they're gonna try to send you the copies of what you signed off on and stuff like that. They're gonna imagine if you reserved your rights in the beginning of that contract. If you would have reserved your rights in the beginning of that contract, they would immediately remove all liability from you in relation to the alleged debt. Because that is going to be the superior evidence. They're going to be like, oh shit, they'll be like, she reserved her rights within the contract, so they can't use that as evidence now, because that same evidence can and will be used in court against them. See, the problem is we're going back and we backtracking. We didn't reserve our rights at the beginning, so now we got to do all these extra measures and stuff like this. If we would have reserved the rights in the contract in the beginning, this long story would be real short. So I'm saying that to say, moving forward, as we're going through all these methods and procedures to uncontract or to correct our standing in relation to the contracts that we currently hold, after we get this stuff taken care of, we need to walk in a whole new light and understand the power that we hold inside of our pen and inside of our signature, because they're using our signatures against us all day, every day. Another thing to understand about contracts, the contract is, we research what makes a contract like legal. To make a contract legal, technically, once we start digging into this, we'll realize a lot of the contracts that we have with these so-called creditors and agencies are not legal or contracts fully. But it's not their fault that we had no knowledge and understanding, or we didn't educate ourselves of the contracts or knew how to reserve our rights in the contracts. Hey, we signed for it. So that gives them initial leverage. But technically speaking, if we look into what a contract is, a legal contract, it has to be mutual. In order to have a mutual contract, both and all parties have to understand and know the fine details within the contract. All parties need to be aware of all fine prints within the contract. In order to have a contract, it has to be a party out, at least one or two parties outside of you that are in agreement to the terms and conditions within the contract. A legal contract is not one-sided unless you manipulate it into signing the contract without being aware of it, which is what we do every day, all day. A mutual contract has to be agreed upon by all parties in relation to the contract. So when you get a so-called validation package back from a creditor, notice one important thing. When you get back that original contract, you're never going to see a second signature. So once you realize that a mutual contract, a legal mutual contract, consists of all agreed parties with proof that we all agree to the terms and conditions within the contract. There's no such thing as a one-sided contract. Once we understand that, we'll realize the contract was fraudulent anyway, because it's you the only person that signed for it. That's where they're getting us at. But that's the same place we can get them at. That contract can be broken anytime now by us because they didn't fully complete the contract. They didn't fully complete the contract by agreeing to the terms and conditions on their end as well. Another thing, as far as preparing our documents to be sent off, certified mail, return receipt. On top of that notary that we're utilizing as a court official, as evidence of our proof of claim. So now they're our witness now. That notary is now our witness. They're our witness in court and can be used in court. That's why some of them don't sign certain things. Not only that, if we want to get real clever with it, we'll add a witness 1 and a witness 2. And people be like, well, why do you want to add a witness 1 and a witness 2? Well, we got to always think of these proceedings. Imagine that we're in court. If we're in court, the court doesn't care about emotions. They don't care about, what he said, she said. It's at court, it's going to boil down to, it doesn't matter who's really the good guy, who's really the bad guy. In court, it's going to boil down to who has evidence and can present evidence of the most facts that support their claim. And on top of your personal evidence, whatever that might be, you have a defendant versus a claimant, a plaintiff. What else do you present in court as evidence? and a lot of the times, well, sometimes even holds more weight than the other evidence provided. The witnesses. Will the witnesses please stand? The witnesses. Do you have a witness? And how many witnesses do you have? So that's the whole strategy with the two witnesses. I recommend on any time we're challenging anybody or contracting and stuff like that. We using the court official, and we also using two witnesses. Two witnesses can be anybody. All we need is two signatures. It could be your grandma, your great grandma, your brother, your cousin. Who cares? Two witnesses. Two witnesses, two signatures with a date. Now, when these creditors or these credit reporting agencies look at this document, they're like, whoa, you have that notary seal. You reserved your rights in the contract. You're using the law to back up your claim. And you got two witnesses? Like, wait a minute. Because remember, everything is all about, it's not about right or wrong. It's all about what you can prove and what bodies of law are you going to use to help back up your claim, to support your claim. That's it. And that's universal all around the board, no matter what we're dealing with. You have to find what body of law will back this up. Now, when we're dealing with the credit, especially the credit bureaus, especially when we're dealing with them, that's what the Fair Credit Reporting Act is for. That's the body of law we're using against them. Now, we can use others, but this is very effective. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. Okay. What are we going to do next? So that's the format on that. Make sure you get that certified mail number on there. Make sure you got those account numbers. You got your stuff tailored up. You signing off on it with a notary. And one problem that if you run into this problem with a notary, some notaries don't understand certain things. A notary. I put the witnesses below the notary on purpose, because what they're going to say is that a notary that doesn't know any better, they're going to say, you're going to go up there and they're going to be like, hey, we need the two witnesses present. You're going to say, well, no, I don't need the two witnesses. The two witnesses don't need to be present because they're not witnessing my signature. They're witnessing the document itself. The notary's job is to witness your signature and to validate your identity. And if they start questioning what it is and stuff like that, technically speaking, it's not any of their business that what this document is. But I typically, they don't really trip on they don't really get nervous with credit disputes, so that's fine. But when we start trying to get them to sign off on affidavits of life and all the other stuff, they start to get nervous. Power of attorneys, they start to get nervous. But for this, they don't really trip on that. But just let them know that you're providing the witnesses below their signature. So I mean, legally, they wouldn't be validating the witnesses at all. The witnesses are on your behalf to validate and acknowledge the actual document itself. So just putting that out there. Let me see. Yeah, okay. So cease and desist. Once you've successfully eliminated eliminate the debt. Let's say if you eliminate the debt off your credit, and it's not an account that has something tangible attached to it, like a vehicle. You eliminate it off your credit, and say if it's a credit card. So you eliminate the credit card off your credit report. Now, this is things that are not attached to a tangible property that can be taken or repossessed from you. You can kind of use that as leverage too, because like I said earlier, you have two opponents. You have the creditors and you have the credit reporting agencies. So if it's a tangible piece of property, you're gonna have to fight. You're gonna have to fight the credit reporting agencies and still fight the creditor. But if it's a credit card or some stuff that's not, they can't come take from you, and you're not using it anymore, you don't wish to use it anymore. Once that item has been removed off your credit, you just removed all leverage they ever had and they can have over you. Because when you get into these contracts with these creditors that have, with credit cards and checking lines of credit and stuff like that, loans, it's like their ultimate leverage is to destroy your credit. So if you remove their ability to destroy your credit and to report negative items on your credit, they can't do you no harm. All they can do is try to continue to harass you by phone, harass you by email, and harass you by traditional mail. That's all they can do. They can't do anything else. Just all they can do is harass you and hope you pay. Because the low blow was the fact that they had leverage to and the ability to report the negative items on the report. But after you block that, they have no weight at all. So what you do with that is, once that's removed off your credit, you send them a nice goodbye letter. They have to abide by a cease and desist letter. You're telling them to stop calling, stop writing, stop communicating with me. You have that right. And understand that I'm fully aware that I'm entitled to file a lawsuit against you if you fail to comply with this request for $1,000 in damages plus lawyer fees per situation. And I reserve my rights to exercise these rights granted under this act. They have to stop communicating with you, especially if you sent that certified mail return receipt. That's how you get rid of credit cards and stuff like that, and non-tangible situations. All right, my mouth is getting dry, y'all. I need somebody to talk to me. I feel like I'm talking to myself now. So does anybody have any questions so far? I'm gonna unmute some of y'all. Okay, Atara, you have any questions so far?
What'd you say?
I said, do you have any questions?
Oh, I'm learning. As far as the cease and desist, I tried that with Discover Corp, but they kept sending they're sending me letters here, but it's removed off my credit report. I don't get why they're not ceasing and desisting.
And how did you send that?
I didn't send a certificate.
All right.
That's the answer.
Okay, so that's why I was stressing all these. I'm only going to address things that are like mandatory, are mandatory procedures. So make your letters and different correspondences effective. And this applies all the way down the line to everything we're doing in contracting. The whole journey we're going through this whole journey is all about paperwork. I think everybody's on this call is going in similar journeys or whatever. So always include that notary. Add your 2 witnesses as a plus. It's not mandatory, but definitely notarize everything and definitely send that stuff certified mail and put that contract number at the top and get that return receipt. You need they understand the processes. They understand what holds legal weight or not. That's why they choose to ignore.
Right. What they tried to do was they sent me back, like you said, they just sent me back all my bills. Like they
Hmm.
sent me like 300 pages.
Yeah.
That doesn't make a difference to me. Get it off of me. So yeah, I
Hmm.
feel,
All right. Now, but as far as let's see, as far as the actual letters themselves and stuff like that, all this stuff is pretty much self-explanatory because the template is they're all laid out. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I gave the order of operations. You know, like I said, I wouldn't bust out validation letters and stuff like that the first round. I would start with the 611s, 606s, and 609 letters. You know, for the first and second rounds, and then uh, you know, worst case scenarios, you need to step it up a notch. That's when we go into the validation letters, the letters of conditional acceptance, and then finally, you know, the cease and desist once that account has been deleted. Uh, let's go into the goodie bag. See what else y'all got here. Okay, now along with your packages, you're gonna receive credit repair myths. You're gonna receive this is a very interesting package, right? This is a very short manual, 56 pages long, but this gives anybody that's, you know, new to the whole credit repair thing, you know, and want to get involved with it to, you know, to restore their own personal credit, or that's looking to you know, possibly help others. This sums everything up to the T, and it also includes templates and stuff in it as well. So when you open up this book, you're gonna see, and these are all items that I've purchased myself throughout the years. Like, so I'm, you know, and I spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars for information. So all this stuff is I'm giving it to you guys. Uh, 5 simple steps to remove negative items. Do it yourself. I'm just breezing through real quick the highlights of it. Now it has some history in here. Oh yeah. You know what? Another thing too is another effective way. I don't do this because I don't like handwriting stuff because I have poor penmanship. But when you write, when you're doing your contracts and writing and using and you actually writing them out by hand, that is like is very symbolic and powerful because it's symbolic of expressing yourself as a flesh and blood man or woman. Okay, so that's a very effective way to express yourself because remember, technically speaking, they're up under the assumption that you are up that they believe that you are a corporation. So in all actuality, because notice your presentments and bills that you're getting from these agencies are actually addressed to your corporate title. It's not addressed to you at all. So that's another thing that I want you guys to understand and be aware of moving forward. If you guys have cute handwriting, hey, this might be the thing. Not me, I can't write nothing, but sign my name. Uh, Let me see during process some bullet points. Okay, this is like, man, this right here, man. This is like one of my. I have a lot of different books I included in here for you guys. You guys are gonna love this manual right here, especially, you know, and so basically like it has step one, order your credit report. It gives you all the links to everybody you can get one from. Step, you know, address the addresses for all three bureaus. So now you might have to double check this. The thing that TransUnion and Equifax and Experian do a lot is switch up their PO boxes, you know, and they only switch it up with for the dispute address, coincidentally, right? So double check that by going to each website, TransUnion website, Equifax website, to make sure everything is on point with the delivery. Review your credit reports. Now, I told you guys to use. I recommend free scores and more because a credit report can be kind of intimidating. You know what I'm saying? Especially if the format is not user friendly or newbie friendly. You know what I'm saying? Because the free scores and mores lays everything out, like I said, in a color coded format, and it clearly tells you like what items are delinquent, what items are considered. Because you can have an item, you can have 0 items inside of your what do you call it, public your public what do you call it, damn it, had a brain freeze, your it's not delinquent section, it's can't even think of the word right now, but it's basically you can have items that can be considered delinquent, but they're not actually in the delinquent category, basically. Like, damn, I wish I could think. You know, help me out, Atara. What's the damn word?
When they're not, and they're not. Say it again.
You know,
when they're not
public. Yeah, public records. Public records.
When they're not in public records.
Yeah. So you have collections. So you have collections. That's the word, collections. So the worst thing that can happen on your credit report is you have things in collections. Not only that, if you have things in collections, or you have missing payments, or you have missing payments, can do some serious damage, especially if you have like very new recent payments, like missing payments from certain creditors that you're currently paying on. So you can have certain items that are not actually inside of collections, but they're still considered in delinquent status. So that means they're just as bad.
So just sitting in discharge means they're not collection agency. They're just discharged. They're just sitting there and discharged.
Well, are you talking about when you look at your credit report, it says been set off or discharged or anything on that aspect? So it's like it seems as if the debt has been discharged, but the problem is it has been discharged. But what they're saying is that the creditor has pretty much written it off. You know, they're pretty much, they're not liable, you're not liable, you know, technically speaking, but it's still laying on your credit. So that's just like if you go to do a background check for a job, and you're doing a background check to see if you have any felonies or misdemeanors and stuff like that. Now you could have went through a situation where you were charged for a particular felony type case, but you weren't convicted, because being charged and convicted is 2 different things. But depending on that employer, and most of them are like this, just off the fact and the strength that they ran your background, and you still have that particular case on your background. It doesn't matter if they don't care if you actually been convicted. The fact that it even popped up on your record can damage you. If that makes sense. So it's the same thing with the credit report. That particular item might not actually be damaging your report, like as far as your number, but if you going to try to get certain loans, they still can see a record of that particular account, which might be a deal breaker for that particular creditor or lender. So those items we still would have to remove or need to remove off that credit.
How can a creditor say it's discharged sitting on your credit report, but still send you invoices and still notify the credit bureaus that it's like missed payments? Like keep on saying you missed the payment, but it said discharge.
Well, no, it's a lot of illegal procedures being done by so-called creditors. They're not supposed to do that, because once it's in discharge status, they've written that off already. Meaning they've already then chalked that up. They've already gotten paid for it, and they've already done a 1099-C on that particular debt. But they'll still try to collect or sends you notices to see if you're gonna pay them. They'll still send you notice, but you didn't tell them to cease and desist. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they'll see if you're gonna pay us, they're gonna accept that check. You know, that this is really as simple as that. But technically speaking, once it's in that status, they've already filed a 1099-C on that debt. You know, so they don't need you to recoup any money from it, and it's not going to be liable in their books as well. Now, notice they'll never do a 1099-A on the debt. They'll never do a 1099-A on the debt because technically speaking, there is no money, and only you can complete the transaction, and they can't complete the transaction by making themselves reporting to the Internal Revenue Service that they're the actual lender, because they technically weren't the lender. You were the lender by way of your signature. So it will never be a completed transaction. Only we can do the 1099-A's, acquisition of secure property on that particular debt. Let me see here. So once everything is removed and cleaned off your credit, all negative items off the credit report, and like I said, once you pull your report from Free Scores and More, you'll be able to see each item categorized, and they explain to you like what items are affecting your credit, what items are considered good debt. You know what I'm saying? And then also we got to understand what's the difference between good debt and bad debt. You know, a lot of us are up under the assumption that all student loans are bad debt. Not necessarily. It depends on the individual person, because in their particular credit report. I say that to say is that a lot of us haven't established a lot of credit thus far. So you might only have that one student loan. You might have a car loan out. You might not have no real estate. You might not have no credit cards, you know, and stuff like that. So if you remove a student loan that's $30,000 off your credit report, and that has a 5-year history, that's your largest credit account and your largest proof of history of credit. So if you remove that account, that could destroy, that can hurt your credit more than anything, especially if it's still in good standing. Now, depending on how badly or how far you're behind on that particular student loan, that determines if you might as well wipe it off. But if you're not, if it is in good standing, and that account, you've had that account for some years, you don't want to remove that account, because removing that account is going to remove a major part of your history. Part of credit building is creating history. You have to create the history reflects the relationships you have with creditors. They want to see that you can have long-term relationship with creditors. So you can't destroy your longest living relationship. It doesn't matter if the debt is huge. Yeah, it's a big debt. Student loans are the biggest debt, and creditors are understanding of that. So they're not, creditors don't look upon student loans like they used to look. They used to look at student loans as being so-called negative at some point, but it's technically a myth right now. It's actually, you can use that as leverage, especially if you're in good standing and you never requested for deferred payment. You can request to defer your monthly payments up to 4 years. So you request deferred payments for up to 4 years with that particular student loan agency to make $0 a month. So your payments are $0 per month. And people are like, oh, well, if it's $0 a month, how is that going to help my credit if I'm not really paying them? Because it doesn't matter, because a $0 a month payment is still gonna reflect as a payment made. It doesn't matter how much it is. It doesn't matter if it was $1. You know, it's still a payment was made. So now you're building up your score based on positive payment reportings from that particular agency, and you can rack those up for 4 years. So now you got an account with the largest history. And you now have established a new relationship that's going to work on its own, and all you have to do from there is start acquiring other trade lines, which you can create yourself or you can purchase trade lines. Some people, like I said, some people are going to need trade lines because once you wipe your credit clean, you're not going to have any trade lines on your credit report to reflect back credit, credit history. So we got to understand everything goes into categories too. These are the categories. These are the 6 main categories on your credit report. You have credit cards. You have real estate. You have auto loans. You have student loans. You have other loans, which still a lot of times there's some form of credit cards and stuff like that. And then you have collections. Now, of course, you don't want any collections, and you don't want anything in your public records. Those are the 2 negative categories you don't want anything in. So you want those zeroed out. But now, once that's done, we need to have a balance between having certain trade lines of items within each one of these categories. That's how we get the highest scores. We can't expect to be in the high 700s or 800s credit score with no real estate. Then once you get real estate, now you have to have the people that have those high-ass credit scores, the people that have some form of wealth products. A wealth product can be considered like a boat, something like that. Those are wealth products. Now, each one of these things will now balance out your credit score and your credit history. Another thing we got to understand is credit utilization. This is another key thing that determines your overall credit score. We get a credit card for $10,000, which you should stay away from credit cards. I recommend establishing checking lines of credit. And not only any checking line of credit, checking lines of credit from credit unions. Banks do not have our interests. Banks charge us interest on a monthly basis. Credit unions.
Okay, I know you're going forward, but I got a few seconds.
Cool.
When it come down to that, the profile for the bankruptcy that I have on mine, how do I get that off of that report? Even though I got like a letter back from LexisNexis reported it to the 3 credit bureaus, but they sent me a letter and said they took it off of their report, but the 3 credit bureaus that they got the information from LexisNexis is still saying, hey, well, we got the information. How do I get that off of there if I still have the letter from LexisNexis? I did do a dispute with them and showed them that the first time, but they never took it off. Neither one of the credit bureaus, but LexisNexis did, along with the letter from the bankruptcy court.
Well, I mean, you're gonna use one of the procedures that I went over earlier. Only thing with you is I would add that letter in your package.
Both the letters from the bankruptcy court as well as the letter from LexisNexis?
Yeah, because you're showing that's part of your evidence.
Okay.
Yep, and just use the same remedies, but for that bankruptcy, I wouldn't even do for a bankruptcy. I would go right into the conditional acceptance, or I'm sorry, not actually the debt validation on that one in conjunction with the letters you have from LexisNexis and the courts.
Okay.
Yeah,
that'll work.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So literally, like I say, this is being recorded, so you can go back into how I explain to use them and stuff like that. But same procedure, but you utilize the evidence you had on top of that and include that inside your package.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me see here. Yeah. Okay. So credit utilization and establishing establishing good relationships with the right people. It's just like you wouldn't marry anyone. You want to get in a relationship with just anybody. You want to know their history. You want to know they have your best interests. You know what I'm saying? So you want to deal with a company or a lender that's gonna give you good interest. You see what I mean? So, and banks are not gonna do that. Banks are, I don't know why they're here. You know, they just all they do is hold your money, and they gain interest from your deposits. That's it, and that's all. A credit union are private agencies. You go and build a relationship with a community, your local community credit union, and see the different results you get. A lot of the loans that you may have been disqualified for or denied for, you'll get at a credit union. You'll see the power of your score go 10 times further dealing with a credit union. We have to start utilizing our own lending platforms. We have to bring our lenders to these car lots. Stop letting these people third party and middleman us. Say, oh, we own our own bank. We don't want their bank. We don't want their money, because what their money comes with, especially with a less than a 600 credit score, is gonna come with a 30% interest rate. That's a situation that's a relationship you're gonna have for the rest of your life, and then by the time you pay off the vehicle, it's not gonna be worth nothing at all. So it was pointless. So that's a bad relationship. That's one of them relationships, them personal relationships, that person you can't get rid of, but you know that doesn't have your best interest, that is damaging you throughout the course of your life. You know, you need to get rid of that person. So don't deal with the so-called buy here, pay here places. All you need to do is go to the car lot, request that bill of sale. You take that to your credit union and you say, look, I want you guys to finance this. And with bad credit scores, so-called bad credit scores, I've seen people get the highest interest rate of like 8%. You know, and people with good credit be like, oh, that's still high. But people with bad credit usually get 27, 30% interest rates, easy. So build a relationship with the credit unions and try to stay away. Get a credit card to fill that category, but I would build all the credit up with checking lines of credit. So when you open up that account with that credit union, and know that credit union is gonna fund everything that you need, whether it's a mortgage loan, car loan, you know, they just have so many different products that banks don't even have, or your traditional commercial bank don't even have anymore. A lot of these banks don't even have CDs or secure savings accounts, things that we need to either secure our money or to leverage off credit. I recommend checking lines of credit, because why would you get a credit card for $10,000 with immediate obligation and high interest rate if you can get a checking line of credit, multiple checking lines of credit from multiple credit unions? Say you have 5 credit unions you've established an account with. Your score went up to a degree where you can start establishing more credit. And you're gonna your possibilities from getting approved is gonna be are greater. You open up those 5 accounts, and then you walk into those 5 credit union banks, and you request a checking line of credit for the checking account that you have, and you ask for 10,000, 15,000, however much you feel like you're going to qualify for. But before you do that, you always ask them, what are the requirements? You know, what is the score that you guys are looking for before you start playing guessing games and end up getting unnecessary inquiries on your report. So you figure out what exactly are you guys looking for. So if you already have 5 credit unions already open and established, and they've been seasoned for at least 30 days, 6 months or so. I mean, not 6 months, 30 days or 60 days. You know, you go in there, you request that checking line of credit. You do all of those accounts the same day, if you can. So if you have 5 accounts, you request $10,000 per bank. I mean, per credit union, because you want to do it before the trade lines hit the credit report, because they see you have an open line of credit with Credit Union One already, they might look at that like, oh, you already owe them 10,000. But if you do that before that actually hits the report, they don't know that you've been approved for $10,000 from 4 other credit unions because you did it before it hit the account. This is just a tactic that you can use to easily have $40,000 to $50,000, or at least $20,000 to $30,000 on reserve credit when needed. And I recommend the checking lines of credit because you don't pay anything back until you use it. You can sit on that money for 10 years if you want to. You're not going to pay $1 on that credit, on that checking line of credit until you use it. And if you got $10,000 line of credit with, say, Navy Federal, if you only use $500, you only have to pay back. You're only obligated to pay back $500. It's not going to activate the remaining balance. So that has been like the most significant form of just creating some type of credit cushion, so you can be able to utilize whenever you want to and as needed without the immediate obligation. Everybody trying to get these quick loans that's saying, yeah, get a loan in 48 hours, get $20,000 in 48 hours. But then as soon as you get that money in your hands, you got to automatically start figuring out how you're going to pay this money back.
Question real quick.
Uh-huh.
When dealing with the banks and opening up the credit unions, what would be the best course of action of doing that, as far as if I had a bank? Because I've been with U.S. Bank for about 5 years now, and say if I wanted to go to a credit union and open up an account there, so would I accumulate maybe a couple of months to some years in the credit union before I decide to shut down the U.S. Bank account, or would it be okay to just switch over just in that moment?
Well, I say this. The banks are so greasy and dirty, and they have they just don't have any of our best interests at all. As soon as you get those relationships established, as soon as you start that relationship with these other credit unions, I would immediately pull my money out the traditional banks.
Okay.
Immediately. Yeah, immediately. And it's not doing you no justice. Now, if you've had an account, if you're a person that had a specific account with a certain bank, some people have had an account so long they have some sort of grandfather, they've been godfathered in or grandfathered in, because they've been established, have had a relationship with that particular bank for so long. So it might do them justice to keep that particular account. But for people that haven't had those type of relationships with these banks, I recommend just pulling out.
Okay. And if I was to go to a credit union, would I have to start over from scratch as far as accumulating that what you call it? You know how in order to get certain offers, you have to have certain amounts of times with banks to get certain.
Right, exactly. So that's what I was saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying this right now because we got to understand that credit repair is a process within itself. So that's the initial process we're going through. So I'm saying that right now, start now, like maybe tomorrow, start looking at particular banks, especially like the federal ones, Navy Federal, Penn Fed, Tower Federal Credit Union, credit unions like that. But do your research for local credit unions in your area or in your city. And I would immediately start, opening up these accounts because if you do it now, by the time you get done with your credit, that time is already gonna be surpassed, and you're gonna be ready to go to just push the button. Right. If not, we're gonna wait this process out while you're repairing your credit, and now you're gonna have to start from the beginning. You got to wait in line, just wait and play the waiting game. You could have already been set up.
Okay, I got it. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Let me see. So,
is there a way to stop collection agencies from reporting to your credit report altogether? Like put a block up?
Well, your block is going to be once it's removed off your credit, and you sending out that cease and desist the correct way.
Okay.
That's the block. Now, but this the thing. Let me put this out here. Just because we need to understand the game, the right to contract is limitless. That means they have the right to recontract too. It's a certain game that the debt collectors play, where I believe it's definitely 2 times. It may be 3 in certain cases, where with certain type of accounts, where they can say if you get an item removed off your credit, and then 30 days later, it popped back on there. But what happened? But it don't pop back on there from the original creditor. It pops back on there by another company.
Another debt collection?
Yeah, exactly. So basically, you wipe them out, and they resold it on you. They can do that. So if they resell it within a certain period of time, they're able to do that, and then that new company is able to report right back on there. And a lot of times that happens. You're dealing with a company that is already contracted with another third party company so technically they're the same corporation, except they have different agencies that are technically legally separate. You see what I mean? So that's just like me having a corporation saying that I have a head corporation called Debt Collections Plus, but I have another one that is also I also still own it, called Debt Collection Plus 2. You know what I'm saying? It's like technically, legally, those are 2 different entities, so I can sell it right back, cipher it through. You know what I'm saying? Just like that. So that's the game. So if that happens, don't be discouraged. Just know it's part of the game, and you knock them out just like you knocked down the first one.
It's just basically repeating the same process.
Same process.
Same
process. Yep. Same thing. You're gonna be able to identify that. You're gonna be like, Sam, you can be like, I don't owe them. You never owe them. You didn't owe the last person. So what makes you think you owe these people? You know, but as soon as they hit your report, you need to be. But just like I said, they're supposed to give you notice. So before it even hits your report, they're supposed to actually give you notice of that particular alleged debt that's owed to the new agency. They're supposed to. They might not. They might just re-report it back on your credit, but then you just go through the same process and get rid of it. Let me see. Also, trade lines. Having trade line vendors. Tower is reputable. My company has trade lines. If you guys are interested, and also
explain trade lines.
Okay. I gotta taste some jerk chicken right now. Oh my God. I'm hungry.
Trade lines are just lines of credit from other established entities or corporations that's been around for, I'm just gonna say, from 2 years to 25 years or longer, and you pretty much just pay a fee. They send you a credit card saying that you've been with them for however long they've been open, or however long they decide to say you've been with, and they may give you a credit line of maybe $5,000 or 10, whatever the case is, and you just go from there. I mean, it's your credit though. You do use it, but you pay it back. Am I right?
Yeah.
Mr. Pinto?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're technically right, but I think her question was a little different. It was that's the traditional way of just establishing your own lines of credit. And that's just like applying for credit. But typically you're going to go into trade lines for people that are trying to help build their credit. So that means you're not qualified to get those particular lines of credit because of your credit. So you need to purchase trade lines from trade line vendors. So that means you wouldn't own that. Basically it's an account. So let's say you have an account for you got a MasterCard from Home Depot, or forget it, Bank of America or whatever. You have a line of credit over there, a credit card for $10,000. Now you have so that's how much, that's the line of credit amount, and the history, you had it for 3 years. Because once you start dealing with the vendors, you'll see the costs fluctuate based on the amount and the history. So what we need to understand is we have to purchase the lines of credit that gonna complement both. We want the lines of credit to have a certain balance, and we want trade lines to have a certain history, because we need the history. So we want something that has a history of like 5 years to, if we really want to be safe. A 5-year history, and depending on your credit report, like a minimum trade line of like $10,000 if you can. If you need to get like a $5,000 one, cool. But then if you get, like, say you get one for $5,000, then you buy another trade line specifically for its history. Like it might only be $500, but the history of it is 5 years. You see what I mean? So you're strategically using that trade line for the history, and using the other one for the balance, for the credit.
So, okay, so I got that. Excuse me, I got that. But when you purchase in these trade lines, and this is the misconception I get. The more you pay on your trade lines, the better off the credit line, or does it really matter? Say I paid because I know this company right now that I paid $67 for. They have 5 different trade lines. Each one of the trade lines is like $2,000 a piece, which gives you $10,000 in credit line with 5 different trade lines. Is that good, or should I purchase more by paying more to do better?
When you say purchase more, you mean purchase more accounts, or purchase accounts with higher balances?
Accounts with higher balances.
I would purchase accounts with higher balances, because what's going to happen is that's going to start looking negative, because you're going to see a message on your credit report saying you have too many open accounts. You see what I mean? So it's like, and they're going to be able to tell exactly what you're doing. So typically you only need 2 strong trade lines. Now, some people have had effect. We've seen some effect recently with 1 trade line, but it has to have that balance and that history. Of course, they're going to cost more, But I'm only expressing to you guys the cheapest, most effective ways of doing it. You know what I'm saying? Now you don't want to purchase multiple small accounts, because that's going to result back to being a negative impact on your credit. You want to purchase an item on it that has a decent limit, and that also comes with the history. So typically it's cheaper to purchase two separate ones. You purchase one for the history and one for the balance. And of course, they got to be good balances. They can't be a trade line typically is not used if it's being sold. So it means if it's $10,000, it'll have a 0 balance on it. I mean, nothing is being used on it. But it's not used for that. That is your job to establish another form of credit that you're actually utilizing credit, because you're not going to get your credit utilization on the trade lines, because nobody's supposed to be using it, because it's sold as a trade line. If that makes sense.
So I've seen some on Facebook, and I think you know what I'm talking about, that they this particular group said that you can buy into authorized users. Now, is
that's exactly what a trade line is.
Okay.
So back to my example. If you have a credit card for Bank of America, this is a real example that we can actually use once we start establishing our own credit, and we can actually be our own trade line vendors. If you have a credit line with Bank of America for $10,000 that you're not using, it's in good standing and all that point, and you want to sell it as a trade line, you sell it to me you say, all right, I'll sell you a trade line for $500. So I'm gonna get. So now all that means is you're gonna call your credit card company up and add me as an authorized user. That's what it means. That's what's happening when you're purchasing a trade line. They're adding you on their account. That's exactly what's happening. So now because they're adding you on your account, that's why I said it's different between you starting your own trade line, because anytime you get a new loan, that's the trade line. Except you're liable and obligated to that trade line. It's not yours. It's 100% yours, and not someone else's. If you add somebody on as an authorized user on your account, you have full authority over that account, and they have limited access. That means they can't call in to get a credit card. They can't do or say anything. They can reap the benefit off being attached to that good account you have. That's all. That's it, and that's all. But just like they can benefit, it can actually hurt them too if you turn around. Let's say if you spend the $10,000 up, now that's gonna bring their score down. You see what I mean? So it can affect them in a good way or a bad way. That's why we got to go with legit vendors if we purchasing trade lines, because you might have somebody out here to get some trade lines set up, and then they sell, because you can put up to 3 authorized users on some accounts, so you can sell them up to 3 times. 3 authorized users per account, and once they get the money from the authorized users, they cash that on that. Then they go and burn up the credit, so they double up on the money. Or this is how it works too. The lifespan of a trade line is not forever. If someone sells you a trade line today, you have to hurry up and do what you're trying to do with your credit, because it's only going to last about 2 to 3 months, depending on the company who's selling to you. That means you're going to be removed. That trade line is going to be taken off of your credit after that time period, because they have to resell it.
Okay.
So that's the trade line business in a nutshell. That's the trade line business in a nutshell. It's all about sell and resell. Every 2-3 months, sell and resell. But and that's the reason, because it's a short lifespan, is the reason why we shouldn't be looking into purchasing add trade lines until the credit report is already clean. So once you clean it, then Atara, I can't hear you. What you say, Atara?
I said I get it now. I get it. I see what you're saying. I get it.
Yep. So that's the trade line game. All right. So that's the traditional form. Now I'm gonna tell you guys another secret on the trade lines on how you can create your own. This is how you can create your own trade lines without having the credit to do so. This is when it goes to leveraging your cash to turn it into credit. You go to your bank or your credit union, or whatever you use, and you're gonna figure out what banks have these products. For one, you only want to deal with and it's usually the main tier banks, not the bank branches. So you go there, you want to find a bank that have either secure CDs or secure savings accounts. Now you say, okay, how's that gonna work? Because traditionally, if you buy a CD, say if you buy a CD for $2,500, back in the day, you used to have to purchase CDs for $5,000, $10,000 and up, and then that money used to have to remain on hold for the duration of that particular program. But now you can buy a CD for as little as $2,000. And it's mainly you can use it for credit building purposes as opposed to saving. So it's typically done for saving, but we use this for credit building, because you're gonna open a starter CD or a secure savings. I'm saying both because they actually work the same type of way. You know what I'm saying? Because since the CD can be broken, I say a CD can be broken because if you start that CD for $2,000, you're gonna be going to the bank and giving them $200,000. But the thing is, you're gonna customize that particular program. You're gonna tell them that you want a per day withdrawal. A per day withdrawal gives you the ability, and then you want to make your payments. You want to make your payments in person by check. So that excludes the bank from actually setting you up inside. They're going to have a program already in place, but if you already have a system, they're going to respect your system. So I mean, you're going to tell them, I want to personally make my payments per month towards that CD or towards that secure savings account. And the reason why is because when you put that $2,000 or how much money you put up, with secure savings accounts, you can open up for a lot cheaper. You could do like $1,000 or whatever. but stick to something that you can do, because you want to do this with 5 different banks, 3 to 5. So because you're gonna force 3 different trade lines, because now each one of those accounts is gonna pop up as a trade, because they're gonna report back your payments to the credit bureaus. So you walk in the bank with $1,000. Hey, I want to open up a secure line, a secure savings or secure CD, but I need per day withdrawal. Meaning you need to take that money back. You need that $1,000 back that day, or sometimes they make you wait. Some banks make you wait a day or 2, and you have to take a penalty. The penalty might be anywhere between 5%. A huge penalty is 10%. But so what? The point is, you're gonna get the majority of that money back. So now you just started a line of credit with a couple dollars, and you go into the next bank and doing the same thing. I want to open up a secure line of secure savings. You're gonna deposit the money, and they're gonna give you a check. You're gonna deposit the money, they're gonna give you a check. So now you have 5 secure lines of credit open. I'm just saying that this is for a particular purpose, because you're gonna expedite the payments going back in order to put yourself in R1 status on your credit report. This is beyond the credit score. R1 status. Once you become R1 status, you can't. The only way you can be removed from R1 status if you screw it up, But basically, on a secure savings or secure CD, when you establish that account, they're gonna ask you your payback options. You're gonna request the lowest amount. So you imagine your payback. You're gonna be able to choose between 12 months, 24 months, or 48 months. It's depending on how large it is. So you're gonna pick the longest amount of time. So then that's gonna make your monthly payments on that particular loan. It's like you're the lender, so you don't you're just paying yourself back, but paying it through the bank so they can report on your behalf. So each payment is gonna be like on $1,000, like $24 a month. But it's all your money though. You see what I mean? $24 a month, but the first 3 months, you're gonna pay back. You're gonna pay up double. You're gonna pay up double on each one of those accounts, back to back to back. You're gonna escalate the payment. The credit bureaus are gonna look at that and say, "Whoa." You see what I mean? So now once you pay up on that, now you go back to your regular scheduled program on paying month to month on that credit, and that's gonna skyrocket your credit. And then you can, if you're clever, you can actually add other people on depending on how they do their accounts. You got to ask. That's why you got to really ask questions so it can operate how you need to operate. You can add authorized users on them accounts. So if you want to be clever, you can resell that. You can sell that as trade lines to other people and have them pay your bill for you.
So essentially, you just really recycling the first $1,000, but you ended up with an additional $4,000 off the first $1,000.
Yep.
Got you.
Yep, that's forced trade lines. If we don't do it that way, you got to understand, starting off at a low score, you're gonna get stuck with them bogus ass secured credit cards. That's gonna be $200, $300, and then you got to pay a deposit on that, so you're only gonna have $100. So you still gonna come out of money, but you're gonna have a lower balance. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna have a higher interest rate. You see what I mean? To avoid all that, go right into the bank and request a secure checking or a secure savings or a CD, and just break it down. And you still got majority of your money in your pocket.
Right. Only you going up in the credit union saying when you open up these secure savings account, you want per day withdrawal.
Exactly. That's the magic formula right there. See, that's not going to be inside their manuals. What they want you to do is they want you to do the traditional method of depositing in there, and they want to lock that money down until the end of your term. So if you pick a 24-month term, they don't want you to really get your money back until that 24-month term is over with. But you want your money back immediately.
How hard is that? Do they really give you a hassle?
Nah.
Okay.
See, these are the things that we're not aware of. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have they don't have these pamphlets and brochures just hanging out anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You got to sit down with a banker and tell them exactly what you want to do. They're gonna tell you what is standard, but you're gonna be like, nah, I need to do it like this. You see what I mean? Because they're also gonna want you to establish a checking account in which they can take the payments back, take the payments automatically out that account, because they're gonna want you to hold that money, and they're gonna want you to establish an account that they can keep taking the payments on a month-to-month basis automatically. You don't want that.
Right. You want to be able to go in and pay it yourself each month, doubled up for at least 3 months.
Yeah,
on each of the accounts, each 5 accounts, to show so you can build up toward the A1 credit or whatever.
Absolutely. Okay. So we have this even if we haven't done status correction. Yes. Status casinos. This has nothing to do with the status corrections, and we cleaning up the straw man. It has nothing to do with none of that. We're cleaning up the straw man right now to leverage him to establish credit for our foreign trusts or our businesses. We need to clean him up, because the misinterpretation is that we can skip this process. Now, there's ways to skip it that I can't say that on record, but ultimately we need that straw man to be cleaned up, because it's gonna make it a lot easier when we venturing off into the private. You know what I'm saying? Because the misinterpretation is that, I'll just start a business and start business credit, or I'll just create a foreign trust and get established credit for my trust. You can't. They're gonna still ask you, once you go to apply for that credit. They're gonna be like, okay, what's your social security number? Because that you have not established a history of credit for that particular that corporation or that particular entity. You have to establish the credit first. That baby has to be born first. So you need a third party to vouch, or not vouch, but to co-sign for that new entity. Now, once that entity has established this line of credit and this history, now it no longer needs a straw man. That's when you can move on and live with that particular number. That's when you can throw the social security number away. But now it's easier if we can use the social security number as leverage to establish that credit.
Okay, question real quick. You kind of lost me a little bit on the CD and the security savings. Okay, so I get the example when you said if you have $1,000 and you go to open up a security savings, and you pick the shortest term to pay that back, and the monthly payments around, I believe you said $12, $24, just an estimate.
No. Longest. You want the longest term.
The longest term, okay. And that makes the payments real small. Where's the daily withdrawal come from? That I ain't getting it.
That's a bank term. So that's just you saying that you need your money right back, because they want to hold a CD. Is the standard CD structure is to hold your funds throughout to the end of your term, and then they give it back to you. But you want your money today or next day, however they do it. So you're gonna take the small penalty and take your money back, because you need that money to open up another one at the next bank.
Oh, okay. So the daily withdrawal, that's the one when they give you your money back, you just use that to do the same thing at another one.
Exactly, because you're using your cash to establish credit and to create lines of trade lines.
Okay, because I was thinking when you said daily withdrawal, I was thinking you were saying like every day you get a withdrawal.
Oh, no. That's just just that per day withdrawal. It's a bank term. Just saying that you want your money back immediately for the loan, because they have to give it back to you, because it's your money. This your money, and you just using them as a third party to pay the interest on that money. So you're paying the bank. The bank gains interest on you on your money, but you leverage it by gaining credit for that, for paying the bank interest on your money.
Right, because they report the payments.
Exactly.
Okay, I got you.
Yep. Another thing with trade lines, and this goes for trade lines and CPNs. I'm not going to talk too much about CPNs though. All about making sure we're dealing with the credible sources. If these guys, if these trade lines are not tri-merged, do not have public records and all this other stuff, they're not going to do us no good. Another company that could be useful to some people that are renting is called RentReporters.com. Now you can start establishing credit for paying your rent. Yeah, so that's something else. Now they have a trial, a money back guarantee, because it doesn't work for everybody all the time for some reason. But they will give you your money back. I know it because I've done it in the past. But if it does work out for somebody that's still paying rent, I think that's amazing, because we need to start putting ourselves, understand that we need to start establishing relationships with creditors that actually benefit our credit. You know what I'm saying? Everything we spend our money on, we should get credit for that, right? It's like, we going to the store. I mean, going to the gas station. Things we do every day. Going to the gas station. Establish a gas card with that gas company. You know what I'm saying? So now you're getting paid. You getting credit for spending your money. You know what I'm saying? What's the point of working every day to give cash and you get no credit for it? That's like going to school, going to high school and college and not getting no credit, not getting a diploma. Let me see what else I want to go through in this book. Y'all gonna love this book right here. Now, the process with the whole leveraging the cash for the credit, I did a video on that, and I have a manual inside of this package that gives an exact breakdown of exactly what I'm already going over. I just want to put that out there so it highlights in your mind.
Have you already sent out the packages, or that's after the meeting?
As soon as we get done, I'm shipping them out.
Okay, because in about maybe 10 minutes, I'm gonna get off because I got another call I'm gonna get on to.
Yeah. You do. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna I'm gonna put the link to the package in the chat right now. All right, so that's the link to download the package. Let me know if everybody see that.
Where'd you put it at?
It's inside the chat.
I don't see it. Corey said yes. And then my question, I don't see it.
You don't see it?
Mm-mm.
No, I don't see it.
Oh, okay. I think okay. Now it should be. Now everybody should see it now.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. All right. Definitely. After this, when you guys get ready to go, look through that. The CRBX exposed, the CRB exposed PDF right there. That was the book we were just looking at, the 56 pages. Look through that, and that literally with that, the combination of this call, y'all gonna be ready to go. And like I said, you guys have all the letters and stuff like that. Everything else is just extra icing on the cake. So I have the estoppel remedies right here for serious credit card debt. That debt validation letters are not stopping. This is to discharge, not to dispute. This one we're going to discharging. Read the instructions in there real carefully. Those are some serious documents. The Fair Credit Collection, the Fair Credit Act is the body of law that back up your the set claims made inside of our letters. So you guys can look over that manual. Matter of fact, this one is even better actually. This is the full Fair Credit Act reporting. So this is pretty much what we're using as ammunition. So this is a 108-page manual right there. So okay. So six-figure business credit. Six-figure business credit. Something you definitely might want to look into, especially after the personal credit is cleaned up. All right, the Millionaire Blueprint. Something you guys might want to take a look at.
You said the six-figure? I didn't see
that. It's inside the folder. It's you'll see it. It says six-figure.
Inside of which folder?
Inside the Dropbox link I sent you.
Yeah. That's right. I'm looking right at it right now. But maybe I just overlooked it.
Yeah, it's right up under.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Got the. Okay, yeah, I see it.
Okay. What else? Something heavy. Oh yeah, trade line resources. You guys can look in that. And how to become a credit millionaire. Actually, this is I believe this is lays out everything. Yep, here it goes right here. So look at this. At the end of 6 weeks, you will have 5 savings accounts with $1,500 each, 5 loans up to 36 months each, and payments under $60. At least $1,500 still in cash in a checking account at one bank, which we would use to try to repair credit and boost credit score to R1 status. Remember, I told you guys R1 status. So this is the hot sauce that you can pour on everything I just told you. You know what I'm saying? This breaks it down to every week. This goes to from bank 1, week 1, week 2, week 3, the whole sauce. The whole sauce. This is like by itself. You know, so I said the purpose of this course is for me to like jam everything that so y'all know everything that y'all get in these packages and how to use the letters. You know what I'm saying? So man, y'all gonna be rocking, man. Maybe y'all can fix my credit one day after y'all get done with this.
I think yours probably already fixed.
Man, I don't even use that social.
That we know.
Man, yeah, nah. I hope everybody really understands what I'm giving them. Like I said, this is not one of them sugar-coated lectures that I'm trying to just speak all over y'all heads and use all type of huge grammar and all this other stuff. Like this is the raw and uncut, naked truth, and this is how credit repair is done. And these are a lot of the methods that are being used in the industry that we don't know about. And these are the resources that show you step by step how to do this stuff. I spent hundreds of dollars for this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Anytime I put a price tag on something, just know I probably came out of pocket a lot, so I have to charge something. You know what I'm saying? I've came out of pocket on this shit. Credit Repair Bible. Say no more. You know,
yeah, I think some people actually benefited off this whole package. They got their shit going on right now.
man, if you can't win with this, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, man. You know, I'm a overgiver. I'm an overgiver. You know,
and them overgivers.
I'm an overgiver.
Ran with it.
Right, dude. Y'all, because I haven't. We've already been on the call for over 2 hours now. I haven't even. That's why it seemed like I've been all over the place. But I'm trying to hit everything I need you guys to really understand when you're looking through these packages, so you know exactly how. So literally tomorrow, you guys can start your process. That's why I did it the way I did it. So tomorrow, but it's up to you guys to study these materials to understand why shit is working, why, you know what I'm saying, the law, what the laws mean that inside the letters and stuff like that. But everything is already laid out to get to get rocking tonight. If you get your letters typed up tonight, get it out. It's already set up. I told you how to do it, how to submit it, understanding contracting, the notary, the 2 witnesses, the registered mail, everything. Stage 1, stage 2, validations, because it's conditional acceptance. We went over a lot of stuff today.
Would you say it would be better to do one credit report at a time or do all 3 of them at the same time?
Well, that's a good question. It all depends on your credit, or the items on your credit. If you're a person that has a whole lot of accounts, like some people that have like a huge history, like some people's credit report be like 90 pages long. So for those people, they need to, it's hard to tell what's really damaging the credit report and what's not sometimes. So you don't want to put a hit on everything at one time. But for the majority of people, like I say, if you go to free scores and more, you're gonna be able to identify what's the delinquents, you know, what's negative, what's affecting your accounts negatively, and you'll just easily be able to identify it and just put those accounts inside the letters and send them off. You can hit them, do them all at one time, hit them all at once. The typical person, the average person is going to be able to do everything all at once, unless you have like I say, a long credit history with crazy amount of accounts. Other than that, man, I don't know. I haven't heard anything from Katina. I want to know where she's at with it. Katina, you hear me? Can you? Are you able to talk? Okay, Akil. So you think you're ready to rock and roll with this?
Yeah. I'm going to rock and roll. I actually have gotten all of mine. Before you even had this conversation with us, I had already gotten mine all the way down to where only thing that's on mine is about maybe. I'm trying to get Equifax, one of them, to get these 7 inquiries off. I have about 7 inquiries on one, 2 or 3 on the other 2. Of course, the BK is showing up on all 3, and the student loans is showing up on all 3. And then maybe 1 or 2 items from like credit cards that I had on like maybe one is on this one, but it's not on the other one. So I got mine all the way down. I'm more interested in right now working to get my wife's where it needs to be at. And although I did see a 40 on a TransUnion yesterday, I got a 46-point jump where I was down from Equifax. I was up. I actually went up 86 points on Equifax last week and 46 this week. So it kind of built that gap because it's like 100% gap in there. But Experian, them fuckers, excuse my language, but you know what they did?
What?
They turned around and took my address. I had called them, right, and talked to them about something. They took my literal address off the credit report, so now I'm not getting the score. So I haven't called them back yet. I don't even care about it, really. If it's showing, nothing's showing them, but it does show my student loans and the BK. So I'm not really worried about it. It is what it is. Yeah. But I'm more interested in cleaning my wife's at this point.
Okay, cool. Now, also, I just put in the chat 2 videos that I did. One is called Delivery by Clerk, and the other one is Certified Mail. So that's to recap the understanding of the power in between those 2. Like I didn't talk about the delivery by county clerk because I already did a video on it. But that let that spark in your mind if you ever have to take it to a level to use the intent to sue letter. So when you use that letter, you're not going to use the post office directly. You're gonna record that letter inside the county records, and then you're gonna request a certified copy, and you're gonna hire that clerk for $15 usually to sit. You're gonna hire the clerk because he's gonna stamp that with his clerk stamp, and then you're gonna hire him to actually send that notice certified mail to that agency. So now that shit is gonna be like, they'll be like, whoa, now they really gonna think the courts are involved now directly. You see what I mean? So that's how you leverage that. That's how you using their hands against the people that are trying to attack us. You see what I mean? This is how we leverage and use the hands of the courts and the courts officials on our best, because think of it, that's what they do to us. So this is the same thing we have to do in return as we counter challenging them. So those two videos back up everything I'm saying as far as delivery methods for every method that we could think of. Like I say, man, y'all got the sauce, man. I'm telling you, y'all got the sauce. I'm telling you.
So that county clerk, that's the same place that we went like to put all of our other documents on file, as far as like the power of attorney and all that good stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
Like I said, everything we covered today that we covered in this couple hours, is going to be, you guys are going to get used to the contracting procedures by doing the credit report, but this stuff is going to leak into everything else we're doing too, because now you're going to be accustomed to dealing with the contract, identifying the offers when they send them in the mail. You go, oh, this is an offer. You're going to be able to look at the offer, to read between the lines, see exactly what they're saying. You see what I mean? See the flaws and they always have to give remedy. You're going to be able to identify the remedy that they're telling you inside the actual presentment, so.
Okay, and you don't have to actually be a secure party creditor to do this stuff, right? Because I be having a lot of family members asking me about it, and I be kind of skeptical about teaching them right now because they ain't went through certain steps, and I don't want to, get them caught up into some, BS and nothing like that.
This straight straw man action right here, but can be used in the secure party creditor processes, because remember, everything we're dealing with is still dealing with paperwork. You see what I mean? So certain particular procedures are going to complement, and you're going to have a greater confidence when dealing with your secure party creditor paperwork or things of that nature.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get off, man. I appreciate it. I put that in my Dropbox as well. I already downloaded everything. So it's sitting there waiting for me to get through it and get through the information. I do appreciate your time, Brother Neo. And brother, it's always a pleasure whenever you give something out. I know I'm pretty slow at moving stuff, but we talked about why I'm slow.
Nah, we good, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all, man.
Appreciate you.
What I need, man, definitely everybody. So everybody's a part of my that's on here, a part of my my Facebook group. Like I said, I need some people have just started following me and stuff like that, so they really don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I need y'all to help me clear the smoke with people that's questioning things. I don't got to prove myself. I do this full time for people. You know what I'm saying? So let everybody know what y'all thought about the crash course inside the group. Okay. What y'all got out of it, you know what I'm saying? Because people, and that's needed. People need to know like your experiences. Like if you experience me, so that you sharing that experience, that actually is the most helpful thing you can do. Other than that, it's just my word against, theirs or somebody else's. So that's why I try to give more, so to give an impact. And I don't like I said, I don't even know. There's some stuff in this forward I probably don't even realize I gave y'all, to be honest. But I just started dumping stuff. I'll probably dump some more stuff in there later. But this is a power pack. Literally, if you wanted to, you would be able to start your own credit report agency. I broke all rules with this package. This is stuff that I might get into a fight with one of my partners later. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you told them that? I'm like, you told them how to do the water. I'm like, man, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, I can't even put this on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, please.
I actually like this this whole program that you're using. It actually has had us in all the videos that I've been in, particularly starting this year with the group and moving forward and getting the government established. It has definitely been awesome. I mean, the last one, like, it was real powerful. We had 70 people on there, and it was a shock to, even though the brother was like way back on like the third page, and I just happened to go through. You know what I'm talking about, Mr. Black Card. Oh, you was on there too, Ontario. I think everybody was like shocked, like, oh, he's
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, the next one gonna be even crazy. I already got the lineup, man. It's going down.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
But again, I thank you, man. I'm going to get off, and y'all have a wonderful evening.
All right, man. Talk to y'all. So, we all done here, man. Just let everybody know what's up, man.
All right, I will do that. Not a problem. Thank you, sir.
All right, bro.
Peace.
Yep.
Thank you. Wonderful class.
All right, it's all right. I'll talk to you in a second.
All right.
All right, bro. Appreciate you. For your resource center on your system and everything, do you have to approve that stuff that people post on there? Cause I know you ain't the only one that posts in the little resource center.
No. Well, the resource center is made so everybody that's a member can share with information they have freely or whatever.
Okay, because I be looking at some of the stuff like, I know he ain't post that. Nah.
Oh, you seen some stuff that's all out of whack?
Well, not really all out of whack, but it's like it kind of, it's like
contradicts what we do.
Yeah. Not really, but it's like I can't really explain it. But like how you explain the whole credit deal, taking stuff off your credit. I know it's one document on the resource center, and it has like a template, and it just say it give you all the stuff that you need, like a black marker and stuff, and it just say like you get your credit report and you just write "not mine" on there,
no.
and it back, stuff like that. I'm like, nah, it's more to it.
And wait for the results, But one I forgot. I gotta tell Akil this one last powerful method. I forgot. This is the sauce. I forgot. It's actually has been more effective than as the fraudulent identity theft method that people use. When you pre-validate the debt, you pre-validating the debt by going to the Secretary of State and ordering a UCC 11, which is the debtor and creditor research report. So that's proven that nobody has an actual lien. These particular creditors don't have actual liens on you, for that particular debt. So that shows proof that there's no liens on the debtor or the secure party, you. So you say you would take that along with one of those letters of validation, and you would send that inside of your package alongside with, if the worst case scenario, if you really want to back them against the wall, you would also make a dispute with the consumer finance. Right, y'all. Make sure y'all write that down. So consumer finance is where is pretty much who we go to when people pretty much when the creditors are not doing what they're supposed to do, and when they give us a hard time. So that's where we go tell on them. So the combination with those three, that UCC 11, that validation letter, and telling on them to the consumer finance department, that's a whole nother method that can be used if you're not getting the results that you're looking for. Just so I'm putting that out there.
Okay, so quick question about say if a situation came up to where you would actually have to take it to court. How would you deal with that? Because I know you stress how we really don't have to be in the courtroom, and how we should avoid even going in the courtroom and being under their jurisdiction. So how would you actually go about doing that if you had to take a dispute to court?
Well, I'd say like this: if you set it up, if you get the courts involved and you do the whole, you not only intend to sue, but you actually start the process to sue, and you order them to court. What's going to happen is you're gonna they already know where what your standing is based on your bodies of work that you've been presenting them. On top of that, you're gonna proceed with the court case and put everything on record supporting your claim, just like you would do any other court case when you're putting everything on the record before the actual case as a motion. I mean, not a motion, but everything on the record before the actual court case. Because now you notifying the judge exactly the details and evidence of the case that basically proving you to be non-liable. That's basically what's happening. You prove it to them that you're not liable for the debt. And so what happens is I've never heard of anybody, and I know Vanessa can contest to this. If it goes to court, especially using these particular type of letters, and them knowing that they've been unlawful in certain areas, they're not going to come to court. They're not going to show up at court. I haven't seen them. I haven't heard anybody say they actually showed up in court, at all. I mean, if it happens, I'll let you know. But when you setting them up like this, they're calling you a bluff. They're calling you because they don't believe that you're actually gonna process a lawsuit. But if you do have to do that, like I said, put everything on record that supports your claim. And if you do have to go to court, and they show up, you're gonna have all that on record, and they're gonna be looking crazy because it's not gonna be no way they're gonna be able to win that case because the evidence is gonna be all against them, all the way against them. So I wouldn't even worry about actually going to court. For that particular situation, you would have to go to court if you actually do a lawsuit. You see what I mean? Because this is something this is something totally different. You know what I'm saying? This is a whole other matter. Like if it was somebody trying to send you to court, then you would do the record process, putting everything on the record, and that would be your appearance in court for the majority of the cases. For this particular case, you're suing them. You're the suer, so you need to go to court. Your whole objective is to make them punk out. You know what I'm saying? To make them punk out from either not appearing or appearing, so you can prove them being the agency in fraud. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna have to take it there. You know what I'm saying? But if it happened to be in this case, you would want to appear if you did have to go to a lawsuit, because you're setting yourself up for the victory hands down, though, based on your body of work. That's why they like never show up to court, because it's like that's like showing up to be embarrassed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they know what type of languages that you have inside the court. They can try to ignore you, but they can't ignore the law in front of the court, in the court of law. You can't ignore the law in the court of law. So they'd be foolish to show up. If they do show up, hey, I mean, welcome to the embarrassment show. That's that. But now y'all gonna find this to be very effective and have multiple uses, man. And y'all will start, being creative and customizing your own letters and stuff like that. I think credit repair is a great way to experience producing your own contracts, customizing contracts to better fit you, addressing these agencies, because that's all we're doing anyway, is addressing agencies. This is a really good opportunity to get your feet wet. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna be able to take that and do everything else with flying colors, because you're gonna be comfortable already.
I'm glad you told me about the deal with the student loans when you was giving that example about how the fact that you've had certain open accounts for so long in good standing, right, is actually like a good thing.
Exactly.
In history, because I'm only 21, so my credit is like, I only have like probably 4 years worth of credit. I started around 17. Mm-hmm. So I think that might be like the longest loan I actually have. It's still in good standing because I have a deferred payment on it because I'm still in school. So yeah, I'm glad you told me that, because that was going to be actually the first thing that I would have took off my credit report.
Oh no, yeah, I'm glad you didn't do that. Yeah, definitely leverage that. All right, y'all. I gotta take me a break, man. I need some chicken, some jerk.
All right, man. Yeah, I appreciate you, especially on my end. For what you did on my end. I needed this information. I was just trying to get this opportunity because I had already missed your last conference call when you did for the whole secured party creditor deal. So like I'd be damned if I missed another one.
Most definitely. Spread the word, bro.
Oh yeah, I got you. Appreciate you, bro.
I bet.